PFT OT, the extra show where we talk about all the things we didn't get to during our 2 hours of radio and TV. Chris, you get there, you got everything.
I'm
good.
You're
in.
I'm good.
You ready to go?
I feel
Can you hear me?
I hear you.
Can you see me?
I'm good.
Can you see this?
Yep. What? See what? Show me. Show me. What do you want to show me?
I was going to give you the finger.
All right.
I was going to give you the finger,
like
but I
this?
decided
You don't want to give you like this?
No, that's fine. They can always blur it out. All right, we have some things that for the slow time. There were plenty of topics we didn't get to today, and I want to start with DK Metcalf, a guy that you had pegged as a first-rounder in the 2019 draft. I had heard not long before the draft he may last until round 3, but for the Seahawks trading up to get him at the bottom of round 2, he would have fallen to round 3.
Right.
Russell Wilson has been raving about this guy, and it feels like it's more than just the perfunctory Russell Wilson raves about everyone on his team routine. He's raved about him physically, and now Russell Wilson praising DK Metcalf's brain, how he processes information, how quickly he understands. He's really intelligent. He really understands the game, and he takes coaching well. He puts in extra work. He's a legitimate pro receiver. He's everything that we expected him to be, and that is scary if he can deliver. If he can make I don't want to invoke the names of any receivers who have made a huge impact as a rookie in the past. That's not fair to DK Metcalf. But if he can make a big impact right away, the Seahawks will look like geniuses for making the move to get DK Metcalf.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be one of those like, duh, what was the rest of the NFL thinking to pass him by 2 times? I mean, that's, to me, the guy that's 230 pounds and was the fastest guy in the draft at, 4.3 speed and was like the most explosive guy at the combine in like every category. What? He's good in football? I mean, you're right. You're hearing more than the normal praise out of Seattle. It's not like, oh, yeah, he's rookie, he's working hard, he's doing good things. No, I've seen a number of articles where it's like, whoa, the guy stands out. It's special. Of course he does. I think the one thing that concerned teams was, of course, the injuries, the neck injury. The other thing that concerned teams, to me, was not a DK Metcalf problem. It was an Ole Miss problem that teams, don't evaluate the player the right way, where they go, oh, his route tree is not as good, or, he didn't get a lot of production. Yeah, well, he didn't have a great offense. The quarterback was a little erratic. I really watched Ole Miss football games sometimes, Mike, and I wrote this in my notes when I was watching him and A.J. Brown, the other receiver out of there, where I went, are they trying to win the game, or are they actually trying to lose here? Because it was like they went out of their way not to get their good players the football. So I'm not shocked by these developments.
Yeah, and, you talked about teams that passed on DK Metcalf. The Giants had 3 first-round picks. They had a pick at the top of round 3. They could have moved up if they wanted to get DK Metcalf. And the New York Giants, a team struggling to replace Odell Beckham Jr., DK Metcalf could have come in handy if he is going to come in and have a huge impact. And I mentioned the Giants and their receivers because Giants receiver Cody Latimer believes that the team can have a dominant collection of wideouts. And dominant may be a bit strong, especially because it implies having a quarterback that can get you the football. But I look at the current Giants receivers, all due respect to Cody Latimer and Golden Tate and Sterling Shepard, but dominant is not the word that comes to mind.
No, me neither. I'll say this. I think they have their skill group has potential. Their wide receiver room has some solid players and has some question marks on next to a few players where we go, ooh, he could be something, but we don't know yet. It's kind of an unproven commodity. Hey, Golden Tate, Sterling Shepard, hey, they're good. We know that. They're solid. Evan Ingram at tight end, he's a special talent. Saquon Barkley, you got him. But the big question, I think, when you want to talk about dominant, you need somebody else there to go along with that. And yes, Cody Latimer, is he going to be that guy? Like a real threat in that offense? Corey Coleman, the ex-first rounder out of Baylor that was drafted by the Cleveland Browns and has kind of been all over the place the last few years. You hear good things about him as far as the Giants and offseason training. So, yeah, I don't think I'd go as far as dominant yet, but there's certainly potential there. And I think that the offense does have a little more talent than maybe we all realize just because I think we think Odell's gone, that it's not as good. Yeah, it's not as good, but it's still pretty darn good with some of the talent guys they have there.
And here's the key. If they rely upon Saquon Barkley the way they should, he will be dominant, which will make it easier for the receivers to do what they need to do. And one of the big question marks, who's going to be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants? Will it be Eli Manning week 1? Will it be Daniel Jones? When will it flip to Daniel Jones? Those will be big factors in whether or not the receivers play at a high level. But if they commit to running the offense through Saquon Barkley, life gets a lot easier for those receivers because they're going to have open spaces down the field because the safeties are going to be doing everything they can to get up there and clog the lanes where Saquon Barkley will otherwise be gashing opposing defenses. Okay.
100%.
Go ahead. You got anything else on that one?
That's it. You're right. 100%.
I know the Giants are your favorite team. I just want to make sure I give you a chance to talk about your New York Football Giants.
No, I'm good. They are my favorite team, but I'm good. You hit it all. I just was agreeing with you.
All right, the Tennessee Titans have a quarterback that they're not quite sure whether he's going to be the quarterback beyond this season. $20.8 million in the fifth-year option for Marcus Mariota. And John Robinson, the team's GM, recently explained that they are stressing to Mariota the importance of living to see another play, avoiding contact, avoiding injury. And it's a very simple exercise in physics and biology, right? You get hit a certain number of times, you're going to get hurt. It's just basic statistics. And Marcus Mariota, we have seen get injured at inopportune times. Blaine Gabbert gets thrust into that Week 17 playoff play-in game, and the Titans lose to the Colts, and they don't make it to the postseason. So they are trying to get Mariota to understand that it's important for him to be able to play. And it's amazing how many quarterbacks are always on that list, whether it's new guys, whether it's older guys, whether it's guys like Carson Wentz who are just still fairly early into their career, but they've been around long enough they should know better. There's always going to be those guys that we talk about that say they don't know how to keep themselves healthy. And you're not going to see those guys playing into their late 30s if they don't know how to keep themselves healthy. And Marcus Mariota's chance to be a starting quarterback is going to hinge on his ability to perform this year. And one of the big factors in that, his ability, Chris, to keep himself healthy, which means his ability to make those decisions, to throw the ball away, to take a sack by doing the old Peyton Manning dive to the ground if you need to. Do what you have to do to avoid getting hit, because that ensures you'll be able to finish the game, and you'll be available the next week, the next week, the next week, and so on.
Yep, you make all the points. I mean, you've heard me say he's a great athlete who plays quarterback instead of a quarterback who's a great athlete. And I think that's always sometimes those kind of guys who have these issues too, because, his athleticism, his strength, his speed have always been so great that he never had to worry about these things. Oh, high school, I'm just going to run by everybody. And, it's the middle linebacker, I'll stiff arm him and keep running. College football, it's a notch up in competition from high school, but he was still elite there as far as being able to run away from people and maybe lower his shoulder and, hit a linebacker in the Pac-10 who's 212 pounds and not as explosive as, some of the guys he's going to see in the AFC South. But, you get to the NFL and things change, and he has not been able to, just kind of find that, that brake pad to say, okay, I'm going to go down here. It doesn't matter about the 3 extra yards. Added to that, Mike, like they're saying, would live to play another day, not only the unnecessary hits, but how many times he's tried to go a little bit farther and fumbled the football or, made a mistake and being careless with the football because of that too. So he's got to find that fine line of being able to play and show his ability, but not go overboard to where his ability gets him in danger. And that's where, this is the year. If he doesn't figure it out this year, he's going to be a backup quarterback until he can prove himself again.
And look, we all get evaluated by someone. There is someone out there who is responsible for determining whether or not we're doing what we are supposed to do on the job. And when the GM of the team is telling you, don't take the hit, if you feel the pocket coming down on you and you take off running and the linebacker is coming off of coverage and he's screaming at you, throw the ball away, it's okay to punt. The main thing is, I'm stressing to him, and these are all comments to Albert Breer of SI.com, to be as best as possible, like all quarterbacks do, to avoid getting hit. So if he doesn't avoid getting hit, if he doesn't do the things John Robinson's telling him to do, he won't be the quarterback next year. It's that simple.
No, you're right. He won't be the quarterback. They're going to be losing games, or he's going to prove again that he's not capable of staying healthy or taking care of the football or doing things like that. And that's kind of been the issue with him throughout of his career. We've seen moments where we go, oh, gosh, he's got it. Here we go. Marcus Mariota's about to take over. And then as soon as we start getting comfortable saying that, he either gets hurt or he puts a few games together where we go, damn, how did he miss all those throws this game? Or how did he look like that? So just needs to be able to put it together in a bigger body of work than he has in the past, and hoping he can do that this year.
We've talked from time to time about coaching candidates for the 2020 hiring cycle. It'll be here before we know it. Lincoln Riley, the Oklahoma coach, a guy who has rebuffed NFL interest in the past. It came out over the weekend. And this is all information that becomes available because Oklahoma University is a public institution. The full coaching contract is available if you submit the public records request to the right agency. In this case, the Oklahoma University Athletic Department produced the contract, and it shows that Lincoln Riley has a buyout after this season of $4.6 million if he goes to another college program or to an NFL team. And Chris, it sounds like a lot of money, and it is a lot of money, but for an NFL team that really wants Lincoln Riley, cost of doing business, right? They buy out the former coach all the time. You pay a lot of money to get the guy that you want, and considering the fact that NFL head coaches don't make nearly as much as they should, what's an extra $4.6 million to get the guy that you want?
No, you're right. It's chump change for an NFL owner and an organization and all that, so it's nothing. I mean, I honestly, I'm with you, Mike. The first time I read this, I went, ooh, $4.6 million. That's going to be nothing if he ever wants to really make the change and become a head coach in the NFL. Hey, last year if we were talking about this, I'd go, oh, who cares? This is crazy. There's no way Lincoln Riley should be going to the NFL as a head coach. He's a college coach, and, I got to see more. But now I feel like, of course, with some of the hirings we saw this year, of course, yeah, I do. I think he's going to be a candidate this year. I think a lot of it, though, will be predicated on how Cliff Kingsbury's success goes in Arizona. If he's really successful or shows that offense is exciting and he can develop Kyler Murray, man, I think that's the demand for Lincoln Riley will be that much, more great. But if it's kind of a stinker in Arizona, then maybe people get cold feet about the Lincoln Riley, the whole college, great offensive mind thing again, and who knows where it goes.
And that buyout goes down $1 million a year. By early 2022, it's entirely gone. And here's the area where here's what we have to keep in mind.
Yeah.
Right? You've got two Lincoln Riley pupils now in the NFL, Kyler Murray in Arizona and Baker Mayfield in Cleveland. Now, I don't know how long Cliff Kingsbury is going to last in Arizona, but Lincoln Riley and Kyler Murray, a potential match at some point down the road. Same thing in Cleveland. If Freddie Kitchens can't get it done, and a year ago I've said this, and I hope Freddie Kitchens does well. If I'd have made a list of 100 potential head coaching candidates for the 2019 cycle last year, I wouldn't have put Freddie Kitchens on the list. So if he can't get it done, and we've already heard Baker Mayfield stump for Lincoln Riley to come to the NFL, Lincoln Riley could end up in Cleveland as well. So it just makes sense to keep an eye on it, whether it's 4.6 this year, 3.6 next year, eventually 0. That draw is going to be there. And you're right, Chris. The better these college quarterbacks who played in the wide open systems do, the better those systems translate to the NFL, the more attractive Lincoln Riley is going to be. And, maybe like Chip Kelly was just a matter of time before that jump happens.
Yeah, right. I mean, I feel like it's like Baker Mayfield has success to set up Kyler Murray to be the number one pick, right? I don't think if Baker Mayfield doesn't have a great year last year, I don't think Kyler Murray would have been the number one pick. Baker Mayfield got everybody comfortable with the shorter quarterback. Officially, finally, it's all done. I feel like it's going to be kind of the same story. Like Kingsbury does good. Even Zach Taylor, I'm going to throw them because they're just these first-time offensive guru, young type of QB, mentor type guys. Where if this shows that it's successful, then Lincoln Riley is going to be a hot commodity.
Kyler Murray was the first pick in the 2019 draft. Second pick was Nick Bosa. And we knew this was coming, Chris. We could sense it for weeks. And as it turns out, Matt Mayoko of NBC Sports Bay Area pointed out over the weekend that the 49ers decided on Nick Bosa at the scouting combine, and they told Bosa's camp at the time he was going to be the pick at number 2. So here's the thing. We saw 3 years ago Joey Bosa hold out deep into training camp, almost through the entire preseason, because they were fighting over a couple of factors that are relevant to the top contracts every year, the cash flow of the signing bonus, whether or not the guaranteed money is going to have offset language. They fought about it. He held out. They got it done. Now questions are arising as to whether or not Nick Bosa will have a deal done in time for training camp. Chris, if the 49ers knew in February they wanted this guy, I'd like to think that they've accepted the fact that they're going to have to give him the same kind of structure his brother got at a minimum, or they're going to have to do without him during training camp in the preseason.
Yeah, that's scary. For a guy who's, again, not played a lot of football and had injury issues, I certainly would want him there for training camp. And that, to me, I have no knowledge of this situation. But, okay, with the Joey Bosa situation, it was the Chargers not basically living up to what you're supposed to do for top 5 picks, right? And just as far as like some of the money you're supposed to get, the guaranteed money in the first 2 years.
It's the cash flow. Here's what it is.
Right.
It's how quickly they pay out your signing bonus. The Chargers had a way of doing it that allowed the money to stay in their coffers longer than other teams did it, and the Chargers came up against an agent and a player who said, no, we want a different structure. And they eventually found a compromise, but it's all, look, when you draft Joey Bosa, you don't necessarily know what you're getting yourself into from that perspective. When you draft his kid brother 3 years later and you know what's happened with Joey and he's represented by the same agents, you're on notice that these are issues. So, I'd like to think the 49ers have budgeted that reality into their assessment of Bosa. Otherwise, they're going to end up not having him for training camp in the preseason, just like the Chargers didn't have Joey. So we'll see. Maybe it won't be an issue because the 49ers know.
Is there an injury provision they're trying to put in the contract? Something along those lines because of a guy who's just had hernia surgery and, of course, gets to training or OTAs and gets hurt again.
What can you put in there?
Know,
you're not going to do a split contract for the second overall pick in the draft.
I was just asking you. I was just throwing it out there, right?
No. Yeah. He's going to get $33.5 million fully guaranteed over 4 years. The only things that really matter, the guaranteed money. If he gets cut at some point the next 4 years and he goes somewhere else, do the 49ers get credit, dollar for dollar, for what he makes elsewhere? That offset language, taking the offset language out, that's one of the things you can negotiate, and from time to time we see a fight over that. And then it's the cash flow of the signing bonus. When do you get that bonus? Because there's value in having money in your account. You can earn interest off of that money. You can do things with that money.
Right.
So if the signing bonus is $15 million, you want it all as soon as possible. You don't want $5 million now, $5 million 6 months from now, and $5 million a year after that. You want $15 million within 30 days if you can get it.
Right. So you can start getting the interest that the team wants to get. That's you're right. That's what they want. Sorry.
Yeah, and so here's the bottom line is this. The 49ers knew or should have known what they were getting into with Nick Bosa, because there's no reason to think he'll approach this any differently than his brother Joey did. So we'll see how much they factored that into their planning, their preparation. But if there's a holdout, they can't act surprised, right? Especially if the terms of and that's all it would be. It's cash flow on the signing bonus or it's guarantee offsets. There isn't much else. There isn't anything else that you can fight about with those top picks. It's also formulaic at this point. You almost don't even need an agent for them, Chris.
Right. No, you don't need an agent. They kind of write themselves. So, yeah, I mean, I'm surprised to hear about this too. I didn't really catch wind of this until, late last night, really, when I kind of just was flipping through all kinds of news. I didn't realize this was really a ongoing thing. So I will be surprised or interested to see how it all unfolds. And I'm shocked that we're at this point really with the 49ers.
Well, there's still plenty of time.
Yeah, right.
Still plenty of time to get it done before the start of training camp. If they get it done, it won't matter. But there's reason, if you're a 49ers fan or just paying attention to what's happening in the NFL, to watch that number 2 spot, because so many of the guys are currently signed. These deals are easily done. Kyler Murray's deal's done, right? These deals are easy to do, but what happens is you get agents and players who want to dig in on these issues. It's their opportunity to kind of stand up to the machine, and that's what Joey Bosa did, and I think Nick Bosa probably wired the same way. Same agents. It's just something to keep an eye on. And Chris mentioned flipping through the news. I hope he was doing that at ProFootballTalk.com.
Always.
We'll invite you to do the same thing all day long. When's the next Chris Simms Unbuttoned?
Tomorrow afternoon it'll be out. More on the quarterback countdown coming up.
Kurt Warner going to be a guest?
Nope, absolutely not. We can find better. We can find better.
No, we're kidding. We love Kurt. Listen, we love Kurt Warner because he interacts with a lot of the things we put out on Twitter during the show.
No doubt about it.
Hall of Fame quarterback, one of the great stories of all time.
No, I'm just going to say, to clarify what I just said, I'm just mad that Kurt, and I'm not like mad. I'm mad that Kurt tried to imply that this was doing for clicks. Okay, I thought that was a low.
He didn't try to imply it. He said it.
He said it. So that was a low blow. So I'm allowed to throw a few low blows at him too. Then he lowered the belt level, and that's just where it is right now. I'm sorry.
All right. Well,
I got nothing personal. I'm cool with Kurt. It's all good.
I got nothing more to say.
All right.
Sometimes the best thing to say is nothing at all. We'll see everybody back here again on Tuesday. Have a great Monday. Chris, great work as always. PFT Live tomorrow, PFT OT, PFT PM. We're going to have Amari Cooper on PFT PM later today. We'll get an update from him on Wisconsin. Yeah, hey, there you go.
You're kind of
big
time.
Yeah, well, not really, but I'm sure I'll ask a bunch of stupid questions, but maybe there'll be at least one in there that gives us some information about his contract status and how he feels about the Cowboys versus playing on the Raiders. That and more. Check us out all day long, all night long at ProFootballTalk.com. Have a great day.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.